Hey guys, this is Abhishek from gadgetstick.com and today we are going to do a quick hands-on comparison of the two devices. Here we have the Gionee Elife E6, which is the latest flagship phone from Gionee, and we have the Lenovo K900, which was launched previously. As far as the time is concerned, it was launched around 2 months back. So in terms of the overall specifications, these devices are kind of similar to some extent, not to a great extent, but in terms of the overall display size which we see a display size of 5.5 inch on the Lenovo K900, whereas we have a display size of 5 inch, which is a full high definition display on this device, whereas we have a full high definition display on this device as well. That is, the resolution of the display is 1920 into 1080 on this device, as well as we have the same resolution on this device as well. However, the pixel density is definitely different because of the different display size. Now if we take a look over these two devices in terms of the overall build quality, on the back side, if we take a look, we have a metal finish on the Lenovo K900, which definitely looks much more premium as compared to the plastic finish which we have on the Gionee Elife E6. Again, both of these phones are unibody phones. That means you cannot remove the battery out of these two devices because the back cover is non-removable on this phone, because you have it screwed with these screws and you are not supposed to open it. As far as the finishing is concerned, you have a metal matte finish on the Lenovo K900, which does feel premium in terms of the look as well as in terms of the feel. When it comes to the Gionee Elife E6, you have a glossy finish on the white version, whereas you have a matte finish as well on the black version, but this one is again plastic as compared to the metal which we have over here. Another difference in between these two devices is the form factor. When we compare both of these devices side by side, we see that Gionee Elife E6 is a smaller phone and quite handy to hold. When it comes to the overall weight as well, this device is lighter in terms of the overall weight, which is around 128 gram, whereas we have a weight of around 162 gram on the Lenovo K900, which is fairly heavier as compared to this device. And again, the display is definitely bigger on this one, so this one is going to be bigger. But again, the Gionee Elife E6 is a much handy phone, much easy to carry phone because of the light weight and the nice grip which you get on this device as compared to the Lenovo K900. Although the Lenovo K900 in terms of the thickness is slimmer, we have a 7.9mm thickness on the Gionee Elife E6, whereas we have a thickness of around 6.18mm on the Lenovo K900, which is fairly thin as compared to Gionee Elife E6. Now, considering the Lenovo K900 has a bigger display, it has a bigger battery as well. We have a 2500 mAh battery on Lenovo K900, whereas we have a battery of 2000 mAh on Gionee Elife E6. Now, as far as pixel density is concerned, both of them have the same high definition resolution, and the pixel density is higher on the Gionee Elife E6, which is 441 pixels per inch, which you get on this display. Again, this display is pretty sharp in terms of the clarity, and there is no pixelation which you can notice on this display. And this display on the other hand is also pretty good in terms of the clarity of the text and the formation of the text as well. You won't notice any pixelation on this display as well, but this one has a lesser pixel density as compared to the Gionee Elife E6, because this one is bigger in terms of the display size as compared to this display. As far as processor configuration is concerned, you have an Intel dual core CPU on this device, which is a 2 GHz Intel Atom Z2580 CPU, whereas you have a Cortex A7 based architecture CPU, that is MediaTek 6589 turbo chipset on this device, and you have a 1.5 GHz quad core CPU on this device. As far as RAM is concerned, both of these devices has 2 GB of RAM, and let me just show you how much of that is actually available to the user. So when we say the RAM which is available to the user, that means the free amount of RAM. So definitely this device has 2 GB of RAM, and right now the device is idle and the system processes and other applications which are running in the background are consuming 0.90 GB of RAM, and you get around 1 GB of RAM free on this device, which is fairly good in case you want to install more applications and heavy games on this device. Whereas on Gionee Elife E6, you get a higher amount of free RAM available to the user, that is around 1.2 GB, and this device has a used RAM of around 785 MB or 786 MB to be very precise as of now, when this device is idle and there are some system processes which are running in the background. Taking a look at the backside, we have a 13 megapixel camera on both of these phones, and again the overall quality of the photos which you will get in daylight from these devices is better on the Gionee Elife E6 as far as as per our observation. When it comes to the LED flash, you have dual LED flash on the Lenovo K900, whereas you have a single LED flash on the Gionee Elife E6. You have a secondary mic on both of these two devices for noise cancellation and video chat. When it comes to the look and feel, if we take a look over these devices from the side profile, Gionee Elife E6 is shorter in terms of the height, and also it is shorter in terms of the width as well, so this one becomes much more handy to hold as compared to the Lenovo K900. In terms of the buttons, we have a metallic button over here, a volume rocker over here on this device, whereas we have a power and sleep key over here, and we have a SIM card tray which will accept a micro SIM on this device, which you can eject with the SIM ejection tool which will come within the package. On the top we have no button, nothing on the Lenovo K900, whereas we have a power and sleep key and the 3.5mm audio jack on the top. On this side we have the SIM card tray slot for the Gionee Elife E6, which will also accept a micro SIM, and you have a metallic volume rocker on this device, which again gives you good amount of feedback. When it comes to the bottom, we have the micro USB port on both of these devices for data syncing and charging. We have the primary mic over here, primary mic is over here, and we also have a 3.5mm audio jack on this device at the bottom. We have the loudspeaker mesh over here on this device, whereas the loudspeaker mesh is actually at the back on the Lenovo K900. So again, when you are listening music or you're watching in a video, and if you place the device like this on a table, the loudness of the sound which comes out from the loudspeaker will get affected, because the loudspeaker will be blocked to some extent, but still you will be able to hear the sound, whereas this won't happen with the loudspeaker on the Gionee Elife E6. But as compared to the loudness of the sound which you get from the loudspeaker on both of these devices, it is quite louder volume of sound which you will get on Lenovo K900 as compared to the Gionee Elife E6 on which. So as far as front camera is concerned, we have a 2 megapixel camera on the Lenovo K900, which looks like this when you do a video call, and again the video quality which you will get from the front camera on this device is pretty good in terms of the colors as well as in terms of the details. If we take a look over the front camera which we have on Gionee Elife E6, we have a 5 megapixel camera, and this camera is also pretty good. You can do a high definition video chat from the front camera from this device, and this is also pretty good in terms of the details as well as in terms of the colors. However, if we compare both of these cameras at the same time, we find that the display is better on the camera as far as Lenovo K900 is concerned for the front camera as compared to the Gionee Elife E6. The version of Android which comes preloaded on both of these devices is the same. You have Android 4.2.1 loaded on Gionee Elife E6, whereas you have Android 4.2.1 as well loaded on the Lenovo K900. On the storage front, we have a 32GB variant of Gionee Elife E6 which is available here in India, and you get around 24 or approximately 25 GB available to the user for installing applications for storing picture, videos and other data, whereas you get around 9.77 GB available on this device plus 1.09 GB, so you get around 10 GB available on this device as far as the 16 GB variant of the Lenovo K900 which comes here in India. So you get a more storage space on the Gionee Elife E6 as compared to the Lenovo K900, and both of these devices are limited with the internal storage because they do not have micro SD memory card slot, so you cannot expand the storage on any of these two devices. Now on the battery department, we have 2000 mAh battery on the Gionee Elife E6, and we have 2500 mAh battery on the Lenovo K900, and both of these devices are fairly good in terms of the overall battery backup time. You will get around 1 day of battery backup on the Gionee Elife E6 with moderate usage, and again you get around 1 day or little more than 1 day of battery backup on the Lenovo K900 with moderate usage again. Now as far as front glass protection is concerned, you have Gionee Gorilla Glass 2 protection on this display on the Lenovo K900, whereas you have a Dragon Trail glass protection on the Gionee Elife E6, and this one has an OGS display. So there is an OGS technology which makes the display much more sensitive on this device as compared to this device, but again this device is pretty responsive. When it comes to the UI, this device is running on the Amigo UI, which is a kind of a custom UI which we see on some of the Android phones including E6 and some others, whereas we have a custom Lenovo UI on this device which is quite fluid, and there is no lag whatsoever which we can notice on this UI as far as transitions are concerned, going across home screens is concerned. but you might see a little lag in terms of the UI transition on the UI which is running on the Gionee Elife E6, as you can easily notice over here. So that's all from us as far as the quick hands-on comparison of the Gionee Elife E6 and the Lenovo K900. Both of these devices are fairly good as far as performance is concerned. You get this device for an MRP of around 23,000 Indian rupees, whereas this one is already available in the market for a price of around 20,000 Indian rupees or 21,000 Indian rupees. Whereas the Lenovo K900 is available for a price of around 24,000 Indian rupees in the market. So there is definitely a price difference in between these two devices. You also get a bigger display on this device for this price difference, and in terms of the overall performance, I would say this device has a slightly better performance on the gaming front as compared to the Gionee Elife E6. As far as application performance is concerned, both of these devices are fairly good in terms of the overall application performance and the day-to-day usage. The browsing is equally good on both of these phones. You have a camera which is slightly better on the Gionee Elife E6 as compared to the Lenovo K900. So both of these devices have fairly good decent points when it comes to ranking. Both of them are very close to each other. They are very good in terms of the overall performance on different scenarios. This one is going to be a better device as compared to the Gionee Elife E6 for the gaming, whereas this one is going to be a better device for the day-to-day usage for the application performance and the camera as well. So that's all from us. Do let us know if you have any specific question for these two devices. We would love to help you. You can like this video if this video helped you by clicking the like button below. You can subscribe to our YouTube video channel for more videos like this by clicking the subscribe button below. Thanks for watching this video. This is Abhishek signing off. Thank you.